This is interesting. Remember, this was back in 2006. Syria was building a nuclear site. Remember that? And there was this mysterious airstrike because Syria wasn't supposed to be building nuclear stuff. They didn't have permission from the whole UN thing. It was just being done in secret. But of course, Israel knew about it. So around 11 p.m. on I have the date on a different slide. 10 Israeli F-15I fighters from the Israeli Air Force's 69th Squadron take off from Ramat David Air Base, southeast of Haifa. You know, I always design these things. I thought Vince loves this stuff, and he's not here. I just can't think of people being here. But anyway, last week I missed Ron. This week I'm missing Vince, because he loves this stuff. All right, so 10 planes take off. All right, and then, and here's what they do. They take off from Israel, and they go out over the Mediterranean, all right? And then 3 of them, right here, number 2, 3 of them aircraft are ordered back, and the remaining 7 change course and they head for the Syrian border. There, they deactivate a Syrian radar station near Tel Al-Abad using laser-guided precision weapons, electronic jamming signals. So that happens here, up here at 3. So they take out the electronic jamming signals, and then they head, go back again, then, after further 18 minutes of flying, they reach the area near the town of Deir el-Zor on the Euphrates River and destroy the Al-Kabar complex using Maverick missiles and 500-kilogram bombs. So that's what happens here. So they bomb and then they head back because they've destroyed all the anti-aircraft stuff. You know, all you got to do is you take out the main batteries that allow for precision defense and all of the guidance systems. And so think of it, folks. Syria hates Israel for this, and Syria was never able to complain to the UN. Why? Because they weren't supposed to have nuclear weapons anyway. All right? And so Israel just had them behind a wall. It's really amazing. So here's a picture of that facility on August 2007, right here. And here's a picture of it a month later. You know, so this just kind of, you know, this whole plan of coming in here and taking out that thing, it reminded me of a song. You know, where they come, there's a valley right here. They came in anyway, but it reminded me of this song. You remember this one? It goes like this. You don't tug on Superman's cape. You don't spit into the wind. You don't mess around with the Abrahamic covenant, or you will meet your end. Da 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 da. Want to sing it with me? No. Let's try it again. You don't tug on Superman's cape. You don't spit into the wind. You don't mess around with the Abrahamic covenant, or you will meet your end.
What's the name of that song?
What's the name? You don't mess around with Jim, I think, by Jim Croce. All right. So after that, 2006, then here's Bush. He's meeting with, can you name this guy? Can you name this guy? Ehud Olmert. All right. He wasn't really a well thought of prime minister. Ehud Olmert. And then this is Mohammed Abbas. He was the guy of, he was in charge of the Palestinian Authority. So here's what happens then. Late in his second presidential term, U.S. President George Bush hosted a conference at the U.S. Naval Academy at Annapolis, Maryland, aimed at relaunching the peace process. Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Olmert and Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas took part in talks along with officials from the peacemaking quartet in more than a dozen Arab countries, including Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia, folks, get that in mind here for a second. And this was seen as significant as they do not officially recognize Israel. However, the Palestinian group Hamas, which won parliamentary elections, had taken control of Gaza Strip, which was not represented, and it declared it would not be bound by anything decided. That kind of put a damper on the whole thing. Can't have peace if you don't have all the parties. That's why it's so difficult. It's a burdensome stone. Don't waste our time. Now this is interesting. Speaking in New York last week, so this is from November 21. What's the date today?
Today's the 21st.
Oh, well, I got this last night, so it had already come to the new day yesterday. Wow. Speaking in New York last week, International Atomic Energy Agency Director General Yukayo Amano said the organization had the authority to send inspectors to sites in Syria where there's a suspicion that prohibited nuclear activities have taken place. Amano was referring mainly to the nuclear facility manufactured by the North Koreans at Deir ez-Zor, which we saw was 2006. It's wiped out, but they're building it back up again. Which foreign sources said Israel bombed in September of 2007. I'm sorry, September of 2007. It was only a month later when Bush met with them at Annapolis, because that was in October. The Syrians apparently had been sloppy in their efforts to erase evidence of what had taken place there, and the International Atomic Energy Association inspectors found traces of uranium when they visited in June of 2008. For the past 2 years, Syria has been playing a complex game, one not devoid of risk. Besides its protracted evasiveness on the nuclear question, Damascus has tightened its alliance with Iran, engaged in massive arms smuggling to Hezbollah, while supporting the Shiite organization during the internal investigation of the assassination of former Lebanese Prime Minister Rafik Hariri. As far as is known, there's been no true breakthrough in the contacts to forge an Israeli-Syrian peace treaty in recent months. Indeed, Damascus has indicated to would-be mediators that it would not give up its involvement in Lebanon or its strategic ties with Tehran in order to sign a treaty with Israel. Israel has informed Syria on several occasions that it will not accept advanced anti-aircraft missiles entering Lebanon. This is a red line. Crossing it will draw Israeli intervention. In practice, this would mean attacking weapons convoys from Syria into Lebanon, presuming that MI, I don't know what MI is, provides the necessary information in time. What?
Military intelligence.
Military intelligence, okay. Syrian President Bashar Assad has not yet responded to 3 mysterious incidents that he called acts of Israeli aggression on Syrian soil. The bombing of the reactor, the assassination of senior Hezbollah agent Ahmad Maginya in Damascus, and the assassination of Syrian General Mohammed Suleiman. Both of them were killed in 2008. There's no guarantee that Assad will maintain this restraint if he suffers another humiliation. So in other words, the scene is being set for this, folks. That's what I'm trying to get across. The scene, the tensions there are high, and it's all biblical, and I'm going to show you why this is in Scripture. Since the 2006 war, the Syrian army, like the Israeli Defense Forces, they've been upgraded. The Syrian military has drawn some of its ideas from the Hezbollah model of specializing in commando and anti-tank forces, together with considerable expansion of its steep trajectory weapons program. Israel is likely to face broad-based coordination between the missile and rocket launching systems of Syria and Lebanon in the event of a regional crash. See this? To face broad-based coordination, but that's what Israel will go after, is the coordination, and the coordination is headquartered, guess what city? Damascus. That's right. It's headquartered in Damascus. I'm not going to do this one. Isaiah 17, the oracle concerning Damascus. All right. This is one of the important. This city it's a huge city. Behold, Damascus is about to be removed from being a city, and it will become a fallen ruin.
Whoa. Holy smoke.
Read what God warned in Isaiah 71. The burden of Damascus. Behold, Damascus is taken away from being a city, and it shall be a, see the word? Ruinous heap. It'll be a ruinous heap. Now this is interesting. God is always doing stuff like this. He takes your words, and then he does the same thing to you. What was I thinking of the example of, of Isaac and the coat of Isaac. No, yeah. Jacob, okay, Jacob, and the lecturer and people of the Word brought this up. I never thought of this before. Jacob faked out his father Isaac by putting Esau's coat on his arm, right? And then he presented that coat, and Isaac...
No, put fur on his arm, and he wore
he wore a coat and fur on his arm, but it was Esau's smelly coat. Clothes. He put on Esau's coat. All right. Jacob sneaked. He tricked. That's the name. That's what Jacob means. Sneaky, tricky. And he tricked Isaac to get the blessing. All right. Fascinating. All right. And the counterpart is, that's Jacob. Jacob used a coat to trick his father. What was used to trick Jacob? Joseph's coat was used to trick. God just does this. What goes around comes around. It's amazing. What goes around comes around. And the reason I bring up this word is that read what Syrian Prime Minister Najad al-Stari stated. He says, Syria warned, the next war will be ruinous. He's saying that to Israel. But what